Welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of our 4-part AFC preview. It's us, S&P Sports. I'm Ryan Showtime Velasquez and my esteemed colleague,
Matt Popcorn Knife Mahler.
Glad to see you all back. Hope you guys are enjoying it and hope you enjoyed the part 1. Right now, we're going to step it up to AFC North. AFC North, last year's standings, the Baltimore Ravens went 10-6, 4-2 in the division. Number 2 was the Cincinnati Bengals, 10-6, and then they were 3-3 in the division. Then you had the Pittsburgh Steelers sliding, which is uncommon of them because they usually are up there in the playoff hunt. They only went 8-8 and 3-3 in the division. Then you have the Cleveland Browns, where they have just cemented their legacy as number 4 in the division at 5-11 and 2-4 in the division. Playoff teams last year, Cincinnati Bengals lost in the wild card, and then your Super Bowl champs, the Baltimore Ravens, looking to go back-to-back this year. So, get ready. The first we're going to talk about is the Baltimore Ravens.
Welcome back. So we're going to dive right into the AFC North. First, we're going to talk about Baltimore. Key additions for Baltimore. I don't have any key additions for Baltimore. Do you have any key additions for Baltimore, Ryan?
No, really. Yeah, actually I do. I've got Elvis Dumervil from the Denver Broncos at outside linebacker. I think he's a great player, and with the loss of Ray Lewis, I think he's going to be able to make a big contribution to that defense. So look out for Elvis Dumervil.
Yep. This year, the Baltimore Ravens have the 5th toughest schedule. Last year, their offense was 16th, 15th passing, 11th rushing, and their defense was 17th. So the biggest issue right now with the Ravens is can they fill the hole of Ray Lewis? Ray Lewis, of course, retired last year. He had that emotional playoff run last year where they won the Super Bowl. Do you think they'll still be able to be a defensive presence next year?
I mean, to be honest, last year they weren't really that good in defense, in my opinion. I mean, 17 pass against, like you said, and 20th rush against. That's worse than second half of the NFL league. That's just, the defense just wasn't what it used to be. It's the aging process. Ray Lewis is older. I mean, he's still a beast, but he's older. Ed Reed's also older. But, I mean, I'd take Ed Reed over any safety in the league right now. And they got rid of Ed Reed, who accounted for 7 turnovers last year. I think Elvis Dumervil is going to help clear the void that was left by those two, but I just don't see them making enough transactions in the offseason to make this defense top-notch. So I think they're going to be a below-average defense this year.
Yeah. Joe Flacco, of course, signed a big contract in the offseason. And sometimes, when a quarterback signs a big contract, the pressure gets to him. Do you think the pressure is going to get to Joe Flacco? Do you think he's not going to be able to perform under this pressure?
Joe Flacco, he doesn't really give us too much of an opinion on him. I mean, he's a quiet guy, just goes out there and does his job, signs a huge contract, and then what's he do? He goes to the drive-thru at McDonald's, gets himself some McNuggets. So, he's not the kind of flashy guy who's going to go out and just be balling out of control. I think he's, going to do what he always does, hit the weights, study the playbook, and go out there and compete. Last year, he had flashes of good play and also bad play. So it's just going to be interesting to see. I mean, with the loss of Anquan Boldin, now having to bump up Torrey Smith from a secondary receiving role to now to be the number 1, I think it's going to be troublesome because he's more of a slot guy, a big play guy who can get behind the defenses. Averaged 17.4 yards of reception last year, but now having to fill the role where he's going to have to run, traditional routes and not just speed burner. I think that's going to be real difficult for him to adjust.
Yeah, I'm hoping my guy from Indiana, Camden Doss, who's listed as the number 2 receiver, can step it up this year. He had a few almost touchdown catches last year, and he's dropped them or they're bad tosses. So I'm hoping he can step it up, but that's another story, I guess. Torrey Smith last year, talking about him, he had 855 yards and 8 touchdowns. So that's a pretty good year. So I think, do you think he'll come out and have that good of a year again this year?
I don't know. I mean, that was with Anquan Boldin opposite side, and so when you take out Anquan Boldin, then it's just going to be a lot harder because now he's going to get the best defensive back on him, which he really has never had before. So now I think that's going to be a mental game as well as a physical game. And also most of those stats happened the game after his brother died tragically. So really, if you take away that one game, he has some menial stats throughout a 16-game season. So, I mean, it just all depends. And it also depends on, Ray Rice. If Ray Rice can go out and be a beast, then it could open up the passing game.
Yeah, Ray Rice had a decent year last year. He had 1,143 yards, which is 11th in the league, and he had 9 touchdowns. But if the Baltimore Ravens really want to have a good passing offense, they got to have a better defense, or better rushing offense. So definitely be watching the defending Super Bowl champions and see if they can perform as well or better than they did last year. Because like you said, they only went 10-6 last year, and it's AFC North is probably one of the tougher divisions. And so up next, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. Welcome back to S&P Sports. This is our AFC preview, part 2, the AFC North. Now we're going to be talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. The key addition I have for the Cincinnati Bengals is linebacker James Harris. Do you have any key additions, Ryan?
My big key addition is going to be Tyler Eifert at the tight end position.
Awesome. They have the 12th toughest schedule this year. Last year they had the 22nd ranked offense, 17th in passing, 18th in rushing, and their defense is actually pretty good. It was the 6th ranked defense in the league. They finally made the playoffs last year, but they lost. They haven't won a playoff game since 1990. Do you think this is the year they win a playoff game, Ryan?
It really all depends. There's it's a pretty top tier of of total teams up in the AFC. You've got the Patriots, you've got the Texans, you've got the Denver Broncos, who look to be maybe the best team in the league this year. They've also got a tough division with the Steelers, the Ravens. Those are 4 games also in their division that they're going to have to go through. So I think it's going to be tough to even make the playoffs this year. But if they get in the playoffs, playoffs are really anybody's game. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think the addition of James Harris is nice. I was surprised that he left Pittsburgh. He is getting old and he's got some off-field issues, but I think him coming in will definitely improve their offense. I think they'll be able to challenge the Ravens for sure. And if they can improve their offense, I think they can maybe win a playoff game finally. Andy Dalton's going to his 3rd year. Last year he had 3,669 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions, which is pretty good for sophomore year. I think the Bengals will definitely be up there. They made the playoffs last year, and they had the same record as the Baltimore Ravens, so I think they'll definitely be a top-tier AFC North team, and they'll definitely be pretty decent. So up next, we'll be talking about the team from Steel City, Pittsburgh Steelers. Welcome back to S&P Sports. We're talking about the AFC North right now. And up next, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. The only key addition I have for the Pittsburgh Steelers is rookie out of Michigan State, Le'Veon Bell, running back. Do you have any other key additions, Ryan?
Yeah, I think a big key addition is going to be Jarvis Jones out of Georgia for a linebacker. With the absence of James Harrison, I think he's going to come in and be a starter right away.
Awesome. Last year they had the 21st ranked offense, 14th passing, 26th rushing, but they did have the first defense once again. They're always known for their defense, but unfortunately didn't get into the playoffs last year, so they obviously got to get a little more production on offense. Like Ryan said, they have no more James Harris. I think that really hurt them on defense, but they always find a way to be a strong defensive team. It's the first time they missed the playoffs since 2009, but good news for the Steelers fans. They haven't had back-to-back losing seasons since 1999, 2000, 2001. So I think they'll bounce back pretty well. What do you think about the Steelers this year, Ryan?
Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers last year put an end to the age-old cliche of defense wins championships, because obviously they had the number 1 defense and they didn't even make it to playoffs. So it does take offense. And Ben actually improved last year to throw for 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and with a 97 rating. So, the offense is, scoring points and the defense is being stellar. It's just, their run game was, depleted with Rashard Mendenhall getting hurt. And then, trying to decide between Isaac Redman and Jonathan Dwyer. I think with the addition of Le'Veon Bell to be the number one back, that's a good pick, out of Michigan State. He was a strong runner there, and he can be an every down back, and even if not, third down, you can put in Redman or Dwyer and still be pretty comfortable with knowing the offense. So I think the offense is going to step it up this year, and I look for the Steelers to make a big run.
Yeah, they have a really strong running core, like what you said with Bell, Dwyer, Redmond. They also have LeRod Stevens-Howling, which was a pretty good running back when he was at Arizona. But another issue I have with the Steelers is can Polamalu stay healthy? He only played 7 games last year. I think that's one of the big reasons, they didn't necessarily win as many games as they usually do. He's kind of the backbone of that team. Him and Big Ben are the key players in that team. So I think if he can stay healthy, they can definitely make a splash in the AFC North. So we're going to finish our talk with the AFC North with everyone's favorite team, the Cleveland Browns. Welcome back to SP Sports. We finished our talking about the AFC North with the Cleveland Browns. The only key addition I have for the Cleveland Browns is Jason Campbell, and that's not that much of an addition. Do you have any key additions for the Cleveland Browns, Ryan?
Nope, not really. To be frank, I think the only person that could ever help the Cleveland win is if they got LeBron James, and I don't see that happening. So I think Cleveland's pretty much, out of this.
Yeah, LeBron would be a great wide receiver. He'd probably be good at running back, too. Probably can throw the ball. You've seen him do the baseball passes to Dwayne Wade on the court.
Oh, yeah. I think he's just putting up some audition tape there. So We'll see.
Yep. Last year, their offense was 25th in the league, 19th in passing, 24th in rushing, and they're the 23rd ranked defense. They hired a new coach, Rob Zagatsky, first head coaching job. Brandon Weeden's second year. He actually had a decent year in terms of yards last year, but he had 3,385 yards, threw for 14 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. How do you feel about Brandon Weeden in his second year?
Well, my opinion is there's no real starting quarterback on this roster, so Brandon Weeden wins by default, basically. He's got accuracy issues, only throwing 57%. If you want to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, you need to be in the upwards of 60s. And like I said, 17 interceptions. He turns the ball over a lot. He also had 6 fumbles, so he turned the ball over 23 times last year, which, is not going to cut it on a winning team, which the Browns aren't. So, I guess that's why he's starting. And really the only reason the Browns won 5 games was because Trent Richardson literally carried the team last year. And he only had 11 touchdowns, 950 yards. His problem is everybody knows they're going to run the ball, and so he only averaged 3.6 yards a carry, which is, lower in the ranks. So Weeden needs to step it up if they want to win, because he's the key since Trent Richardson's already doing his thing.
Yeah, Weeden can step it up. Trent Richardson could definitely run more, and that's what they need to do if they want to make it back to the playoffs, which they haven't done since 2002, which is tied for the second longest drought with Oakland, Buffalo being number 1 at 13. And they haven't had a winning season since 2007. And even when they had that winning season in 2007, they didn't make the playoffs. So I don't expect them to be that good this year. And how do you think they'll do this year?
I've got them, being last in the division, especially when you have 3 teams that could easily make the playoffs in their division ahead of them. So that's 6 games against, possible playoff teams they have to play. And like you said, they haven't had a winning season in 2007, and, in that, they never won more than 5 games, which is, so they're far beyond a winning season. I feel like they're missing a lot of pieces, and for you Browns fans, I think the best chance for you to see the Browns in the Super Bowl is if you come to my house and look at my morning shit, so I just don't see them making the playoffs or doing anything.
Yep. So that is our AFC North preview. Stay tuned, though, because we still have to predict who we think is going to win the AFC North. Welcome back to SP Sports. We're going to wrap up our talk about the AFC North by predicting who we think is going to win the AFC North. So I'll let you go first, Ryan. Who do you think is going to win the AFC North?
The AFC North, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers, a year removed from their so-so season is going to make it up by going to the playoffs this year. I think Le'Veon Bell is going to be a strong addition. I would think the Baltimore Ravens lost way too many people in order to be a good team. To give Joe Flacco a huge contract, not enough money for everybody else. Bengals are going to put up the strongest fight, but in the end, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right, and I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to win the AFC North. I think Andy Dalton coming to his third year is just going to be really good this year. I think adding Jim Harrison will definitely help the defense, and I think they're going to be able to finally win the division for the first time since 2009. So that wraps up our talk about the AFC North. Make sure you tune in next time for part 3 of our AFC preview, and we're going to be talking about the AFC West. So until next time, I'm Matt Popcorn Knife Mahler.
I'm Ryan Showtime Velasquez.
Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and check on the blog. Have a good night.
Don't forget to tell your sisters about us.